It's great to have you with us from wherever you're tuning in from. For more information about Elevate Church or to contact us, head to our website elevatechurch.me and take us wherever you go by downloading our Elevate Church AU app. We hope this message inspires and helps you to take your next steps in your journey.
Hey, good morning. It's 2025. Hello. One of the things that signifies is that Elevate Church has turned 75 this year. Hello. Yes, it's brilliant. And we know that because, and you know, I wish we knew more than we do, but at a minimum, we know that because we have this photo. Some of you are familiar with this photo and you're familiar with the backstory. Those of you that aren't, let me catch you up. This photo, it's like my favorite photo. And it's because it's a photo of a group of people. Unfortunately, we don't know who they are. It's a group of people that in 1950, 75 years ago, launched a Sunday school somewhere in Rivervale in a park. Again, we don't know all of the finer details, but that kind of isn't the important thing for us to know. The important thing for us to know, and I share this with the team, I've just allowed myself to play this out. This didn't just happen on one given Sunday. This had to have happened. This particular scene where a group of adults scooped up a group of kids. We don't know if there were several families and they were their kids. We just don't know. But this photo would have almost certainly been preceded by a group of people gathering together, maybe in a lounge room, maybe over a dinner table, with an idea. Hey, what if we gathered some kids together in a couple of months' time and grabbed our Bibles and headed to that park and taught those kids about Jesus? I mean, literally, I can imagine that being the conversation. And so, in other words, this was created out of nothing. Like before this happened, before these guys launched, before they met, before they scooped the kids up, this didn't exist. This is what we call pioneering. And the thing about pioneering, by the way, pioneering isn't for the faint-hearted, because pioneering is hard work. Pioneering is all about somebody going first or some group of people going first and doing something and pushing the frontiers of something that hasn't been done before. The other group of people are called settlers. And here's what I know about settlers. People don't build statues and monuments of settlers. They build statues and monuments of pioneers, because pioneers did the hard work, did the heavy lifting, broke the new ground. And here's the thing. I said to the team this morning, I've even let myself flirt with the idea that maybe I'll meet these people in heaven. Like maybe. And by the way, if I do, this is what I'm going to say to them. Thank you. And I'm going to say, well done, although Jesus has already said that to them. And thank you. Thank you, because 75 years later, I had the enormous privilege of being a part of what you started from scratch, from nothing, in 1950. But here's the thing. We're not going to sit around this year reminiscing. Remember how it was in 1950? That linen suit. We're going to honor, because, by the way, there's been generations of pioneers that came after this group and pioneered next phases and next phases and next phases, some of whom are still here today. But we're going to honor that. We're going to honor them. We're going to honor the journey, the hard work, the heavy lifting, the dedication, the prayers, the sacrifice, the giving, all the things. And we're going to look at what I think is our responsibility, because it's our turn. It's our turn. And so, because we have a choice. We can be settlers. We've got air conditioning. They didn't have air conditioning. We've got air conditioning. We've got coffee. We can drop our kids off for an hour and let them be someone else's problem. like literally, I mean, just think about it. Literally, that's an option. I mean, it is. Now, I don't think it is, but it is, okay? Or we can choose what I think is the better option and say it's our turn to be pioneers for the next chapter, setting things up for the next generation and the generation after that. You know, here's the thing. Some churches don't last 75 years. We get to step into a church that's actually lasted, not just lasted like on like life support. Lives have been changed, families have been transformed, and the stories have gone before us, and now it's our turn. Our turn to pioneer the next chapter. So what we're going to do over the next few weeks is look at what's required of us as a church that's 75 years old, that we've stepped into. What does that require of us going forward? Now, here's the thing. I've been leading Elevate Church for the last 15 years. And so what that actually means, like 15 years, that's a decent chunk of time. I don't have stats on the average lifespan of a church leader, but I can tell you, sadly, it's not that long. Because leading a church is often hard work and challenging and sometimes horrible. And some people are like, no, that's it, I'm out. We're going to go and sell used cars. But I've been leading here for 15 years, and what that means is, so the 60 years that have gone before I even like walked in the door here, for one, but also means that I'm not just the pastor of Elevate Church, I'm actually the product of Elevate Church. Like the last 15 years of my journey and my personal transformation and my journey following Jesus has happened in the context of this faith community. The conversations that we've had, the prayers that we've prayed, the sacrifices that we've made, they formed me. And for you, whether you've been here for 1 month, 1 year, 15 years, or some of you I know have been here for 5, 6 decades, you also are a product of Elevate Church. And so we get to pioneer the next chapter. And we're going to look at that through the lens of this very simple perspective. I love my church. Like, I'm saying that. And now we use the word love maybe a little bit too loosely. We throw it around a lot, you know, because we love things. Oh, I love coffee. Anyone, any fellow coffee lovers here? Yep, yeah, good. You are the chosen ones. I love coffee. And then you might say, well, I love sports. Anyone love sports? Me too, love sports. Love movies. Any movie lovers here? Yep, God bless you all. Yep, good, great. Love cooking. Anyone love cooking? Yep, great. Anyone love Uber Eats? Because you don't have to cook. Yeah, God bless Uber Eats. And the list goes on. And here's the thing. This is on the top of my list of the things that I love. And one of the things that we can easily recognize is that we invest in what we love. In other words, when you come to my house, you will see a reasonably sophisticated coffee setup. And it communicates to you unapologetically that the owner of this house, the person that makes coffee in this kitchen, he must really love coffee. And I can confirm your suspicions are correct. He does. And so he invests in, because we invest time, we invest money, we invest attention, we invest energy, we invest into the things we love. So one of the things in life is to make sure we get the list of priorities correct. What should we love the most? And I would like to think, and by the way, that's what I'm saying, is I like to think that the church should be right up there near the top of the list as the things we love. And from that comes this idea that I'm going all in. I'm investing my life in this thing. This matters to me. Like the church's mission. By the way, incidentally, when I talk about the church, I'm not talking about a thing or a place or a building. I'm talking about you. And I'm talking about me. I love the church. And so when we talk about the mission of the church, it's not somebody else's mission. It's not an organization's mission. It's not something, it's our mission. Like it's our mission. And we use a very simple phrase to describe our mission. Our mission as Elevate Church is to reach people and to build people. It's the idea that there are people there and there are people here. There and here. Reach people, build people. There and here. And we intentionally put them in this order because the people that are there are the ones Jesus said to make the priority, to reach people. People there. And think about it. Right now, as we sit here, there are people there who are lonely. There are people there who are struggling with addiction and depression. There are people there, get this one, who have been hurt by a church in their past and have vowed they ain't never trying that again. Like literally, there is now a phrase called church hurt. It's a phrase. It should be an oxymoron. Right? But it's not. There are people there, maybe successful in what our culture determines success, but actually searching for real meaning and real purpose. There are people there who have broken relationships that have broken them, and they're wondering if things could ever be restored again. There are people there who need hope in their world. They're there right now. They're not coming, they exist. They're already there, and Jesus said they out there need to be our priority. Jesus' priority needs to become and remain our priority. Because Jesus didn't just come for church people. Jesus didn't just die on a cross for church people. Jesus didn't just abandon heaven for church people. And therefore, we as his body, we cannot be a church that exists just for church people, because that's not a church. That's a country club with exclusive memberships, and you're either out or you're in, and if you're out and you want to get in, we'll think about it. And you have to qualify. No, the church, first and foremost, exists for there. Reach people. And think about your own journey. I mean, question, who would say that a part of that there was somebody that played a role in your journey to becoming a follower of Jesus? Can anyone say that was you as a friend, a family member, a colleague? Yeah. Now, some of you are thinking of people that put you off the idea, but like, let's look at the positive, shall we? You know, so, and here's the thing. There's even people that you don't know that played a role in that prayed for you, even though you don't necessarily know that they prayed for you, that gave to the mission of their church, that they didn't even have you in mind, but they said, God, use this money, a percentage of what I've earned to reach people out there who need to meet you. You know, that's the thing. The church, first of all, is about there. Reach people and build people. Now, we're going to come back to the build people thing in a second. What we're going to do over this during this series is actually do a little bit of a flyover of the book of Acts. So if you've got your smartphone, you can scan this flow code. It's going to take you to the beginning of that book, the Acts chapter 1. So let me take you to Bible college for free. Here it is. This is essentially the history book of the early church. Now, it was written by Luke. Luke's the same dude who wrote one of Jesus' 4 biographies. The book it's called Luke now, written by Luke. Luke was a medical doctor, and he went around so first of all, the biography of Jesus' life and ministry, Luke went around interviewing eyewitnesses that had seen, heard, experienced Jesus while he was here on earth. Then after Jesus ascended into heaven, Luke shifted his focus on what happened next. Okay, so that's the context. And it's not like the book of Acts is not like a 100% prescriptive, this is how a church should operate. But what it does do is it shows a group of people who very much demonstrated that they knew what the main things were and how to keep the main things the main things. Okay, so Jesus' disciples asked him, this is like before he ascended to heaven, like, hey, Jesus, because they still thought, just before he ascended into heaven, after everything that they've heard, everything that they've taught, everything that they've been through, everything that they've witnessed, they still thought that Jesus' mission was to kick out the Romans and establish Jesus' kingdom, like the Jewish kingdom, in their area. So they ask him, so Jesus, when's that going to happen? Like, we've been waiting, like, when's it going to happen? That's their question. And Jesus answers, listen, knuckleheads, the Father alone has the authority to set those dates and times, and they are not for you to know. Like, But you will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes upon you. And in other words, that's not the focus. Don't worry about that. This is the stuff that I want you to focus on. You'll be my witnesses, telling people about me everywhere in Jerusalem, throughout Judea, in Samaria, and to the ends of the earth. And after saying this, he was taken up into a cloud while they were watching, and they could no longer see him. Jesus uses this word witnesses to point to our mission as his followers. Our mission is to be his witnesses. And I'm not going to bother taking you to Bible college because you don't need to know the original Greek, because this word witnesses in that context means exactly what it means today. It means to stand before a group of people. Obviously today it's often in a court of law. To stand before a group of people and testify to what you've seen, to what you've heard, to what you've experienced. I've seen. The great thing about being witnesses for Jesus, you don't even need to be able to answer every single Bible question. But I don't know. Read the Bible, study it, learn it, but you don't have to know everything. You don't have to be a doctor in theology. Say, you know what? Here's the thing. I don't know everything, but let me tell you what Jesus has done for me. Let me tell you what I've experienced. Let me tell you what I've seen in the lives of other people. I've got this friend, and they were caught up in a dead end of addiction, and Jesus came into their heart and their lives, and let me tell you a bit about this is what it means to be a witness. And Jesus is saying, this is the job. This is the mission. It's not about some sort of fringe, peripheral, when's Jesus coming back? Incidentally, if anyone asks you, or you think to yourself, when's Jesus coming back? Here's the thing. We don't know. Jesus said, you're not going to know. All I know is between now and then, I'm getting ready. Because either I'm going or he's coming. Either way, I don't have control over either of those things, but I've got control over one thing. I'm getting ready. This idea, Jesus is coming, look busy. No, it's not. Like the guy that carries the piece of paper around the office to make it look like he's actually working. No, it's not get busy pretending you're being busy. It's get busy on mission, being witnesses. And now I see like over 2,000 years since the early church. Things have occasionally gotten a little bit off track, and here's the thing about things getting off track. Even things that are 1 degree off over 2,000 years can end up miles apart, even though they only are 1 degree off. And one of the things that's crept into the church world over the centuries is that the mission of the church is meant to be done by the paid professionals. The priests and the pastors, and we'll just give them some money and let them be the witnesses. And here's the thing that I can reveal to you. As a church leader, I am very, very ineffective as a witness for Jesus. You'd think it's the opposite, because I know people's stories and I can share stories of life change and transformation. I'm very below the national average of effectiveness when it comes to being a witness for Jesus, because here's the example. one of the favorite things we like to ask people when we meet them, at a dinner party or a barbecue or whatever. So, what do you do for a living? Here's the thing. Like, I could lie, but I just say, well, actually, I lead a church. Here's the deal. 99 times out of 100, in that very moment, in a split second after I finish saying the words, I lead a church, things get super weird. Like, instantly. Like the person I'm talking with becomes someone else. Like their main preoccupation becomes apologizing for swearing. And here's what I have to say to them. I went to an all-boys high school. I know all the words. I've used all the words. You will not shock me. But that doesn't happen for you, right? I mean, it might come up that you go to a church. And things get mildly weird. But I'm just saying, like you're kind of like undercover operatives. Like you're Jesus followers disguised as a bookkeeper. You're Jesus followers disguised as a teacher. You're like undercover boss and undercover Christian. And occasionally you get to pull the mustache off and reveal your identity. I'm a follower of Jesus. But typically, you've built relationship by that thing. J-Max saying, things still get weird sometimes. But I'm just saying, this is one of the things that have gotten off track over the years, that the paid professional, this isn't the mission of the paid professionals. This is the mission of Jesus followers. Including me. I didn't get a free kick from this. I'm just saying you guys are way better positioned than the paid professionals. Now, Jesus said this stuff. It was like, this is literally his last words. Like, as we see, he literally, upon saying this, he left. Jesus has left the building. He's ascended like an avenger into the clouds. And big brain Bible college scholars this is called the ascension. Okay, some of you know that. If you grew up in church, you probably know that. This very moment in history is called the ascension, Jesus' ascension into heaven. Big brain Bible college scholars actually say that this event is equally as important as Jesus' birth, which we celebrate at Christmas, as Jesus' death, which we remember on Good Friday, and Jesus' resurrection, which we celebrate on Easter Sunday. They say that this is equally important as the other three. But it's interesting, it doesn't get nearly as much attention. But the reason it's so important is this is the precise moment in history where Jesus hands the baton over and says, my mission is now your mission. Like, I'm going, now it's up to you on this earth. I've done my thing on this earth. Now, just for the record, by the way, it doesn't mean he leaves us with his mission on our own, because one of the things he promises is he returned to the right hand of the Father. So that's pretty cool. And he says that I'm going to be your advocate. In other words, he's sitting at the right hand of the Father speaking on our behalf. He also says that he's going to send his Holy Spirit and we will receive power. So we're empowered to do his mission. So this is the whole thing. This is why the ascension matters. Now, this word witness in the book of Acts actually appears 39 times. It's not a marginal subject. It's the subject. It's woven and threaded through the entire book of Acts. So here's the thing. What does it mean in 2025 to be a witness for Jesus? Here's some of Marco's pro tips. Ready? Yeah. Here we go. Number 1, respond with kindness instead of aggression. Doesn't sound very spiritual. You know what? Yeah, it does. And you know, not only does it sound spiritual, it actually sets you apart. People are like, oh, that response was unexpected. Help somebody without expecting anything in return. Serve your family, your friends, and your colleagues. Here's another one. 2025, you may have noticed, is we're increasingly living in a post-truth world. There was a particular political leader who used the phrase alternate facts to, gaslight us. It's actually called lying, but anyway. Tell the truth. Incidentally, tell the truth, even when it's hard, even when it might make you look bad, even when it means like owning up to something that may have some negative consequences for yourself, tell the truth. Prioritize being an active part of the church. Because here's the thing, I am under no illusion that you didn't have any other options this morning that you could have chosen in February at 10 a.m., just around the corner from the Vic Park Cafe Strip, not too far from your comfortable bed, in the lounge room where you have a Netflix subscription waiting for you and some recommended new series to binge watch. So actually, by being here is a way of you demonstrating to the people in your sphere that this matters, that this is important to you. Giving financially. We've got a thing, a pioneering aspect of what we're doing at the moment called Building the Future. I won't take any time to talk about that. We'll talk about that in a few weeks. But that just very simply involves a group of pioneers giving, in addition to their regular first 10% giving into reducing debt that we have for a loan on the house, that side, which we bought in 2015. That's all I'm going into. But I wrote to that group just 2 weeks ago, and we talked about how much it's been given and how much that's reduced the debt. And I'm like, what a group. And I said this, you guys are doing that when the headlines are all about the cost of living crisis, when the headlines are all about the interest rates, that in that climate, which I know most of us are affected by, you're choosing to make sure that you're giving sacrificially and trusting that God is going to take care of your needs and so on. So it's absolutely brilliant. And that's being a witness. I haven't even talked about shoving Bibles down anyone's throat yet. Bashing them overhead with an old King James, the family Bible, off the shelf. Clunk. All right. Now there's this second piece, build people. This is the idea that Jesus commissioned us to make disciples, to reach people, in other words, to introduce people to Jesus, and then to help people follow him and follow him closely. Now, speaking of following closely, has anyone noticed that there seems to be an uptick, those of you that are drivers of vehicles, an uptick in tailgating in recent years? Anyone notice that? Like people like riding your bumper. Now, I can remember 20 years ago, all right, if you're going down the freeway and you're in the fast lane and you're doing less than 10 kilometers over the speed limit, like the speed limit's 100 and you're only doing 109, someone is right up in you, get in the slow lane, you moron. Or if it's at night, they're flicking their high beams, shaking their fists at you. Sometimes you just have to you just turn the rear view mirror around. You're just like, I can't even watch this anymore. This is horrible. Like, is that, and like that was 20 years ago. Now, on a Saturday morning, I don't have a car. I don't drive a car. I can drive a car. I don't own a car. But on Saturday mornings, if I have to do a Bunnings run, something a little bit more than my Vespa can kind of carry, I'll take the Louis-Mobile. And my Bunnings is just in East Vic Park. So I'll go down Albany Highway. The speed limit's 40 kilometers an hour. Saturday morning, 7 a.m. I've got people tailgating me down there because I'm not doing 45. So I'm going to get this sticker and I'm going to put it on. Oh, sorry, probably shouldn't take that. I'm going to put this on the back of the Louis-Mobile. This is the sticker I'm going to put up there. Let's just see it. Because I mean, really, at the end of the day, that's the real question. Okay, so Luke goes on to record this slice of history, the ascension. So Jesus is headed off into the clouds like an avenger. And as they strained to see him rising into heaven, two white-robed men, which is how the sort of New Testament often, actually the whole Bible, often refers to angels, two white-robed men suddenly stood among them. Men of Galilee, they said, why are you standing here, staring into heaven? Jesus has been taken from you into heaven, but someday he'll return from heaven in the same way as he went. Note the question. Why are you still standing here? Did you not hear what he just said? You all have a job to do. You all have a mission. Get going. Be his witnesses. And this is the question we're asking ourselves. What does it mean to be his witnesses? To introduce people to Jesus and then to help them follow him. Because here's the thing. Following Jesus is not just about out versus in. You know, I used to be not a Christian, now I'm a Christian. Actually, it's about, yes, believing that he is who he says he is. It's also about following him daily, weekly, monthly, annually, decade upon decade. And here's the beautiful thing about that. He promises that he will continue to transform us. It's not just a zap. It's not a magic wand. It's not a, tap on the head with some magic potion. It's this journey. But as we commit to the journey and as we help lead other people in their journey, following him and following him closely like a Jesus tailgater, he promises he will continue to transform us. So he promises that we'll be transformed from glory to glory. We'll be made more and more into his image and likeness if and only if, but as we continue to follow him and as we help other people continue to follow him. So here's the thing. I'm going to do a real quick flyover of 5 things that we invite and encourage people to do as a priority, as a part of positioning ourselves individually to reach people and to build people. And it looks exactly like this. And if you've been hovering around Elevate for any length of time, you will have heard these in maybe piecemeal fashion. Some of you veterans, you've seen these before as our 5 Elevate essentials. Just for the record, these don't include like personal spiritual disciplines. Okay, so there's prayer and Bible reading, fasting on occasion. Like those are the things that all believers are kind of encouraged to do. But we put up these 5 things. And the thing about these 5 Elevate essentials is I can tell you anecdotally, person after person who have locked into all 5 of these Elevate essentials, I can tell you about their growth journey. It's almost assured. It's almost a given. It's almost automatic. Now, I'm not going to give any money back guarantees here, but I'm just saying, anecdotally, I can be witnesses to some of you who have put all of these into play. That you've said, hey, Sunday mornings, I'm showing up at my church's live experience, and anything else, I'll see you at 11:30, or anything else, schedule it for Saturday and I'll be there. But I'm sorry, I'm off the reservation Sunday mornings because that's the absolute priority for me. Joining an Elevate team, we do not, and I don't think Jesus calls us to be spectators, to be consumers. I grew up in the Catholic Church, and there's a very simple, quick story. I made the switch from the Catholic Church purely because, not theology and not because the men wear dresses, none of that sort of stuff. I purely made the switch because in the Catholic Church, there really isn't many opportunities to serve. Like that's just it. It's not a criticism, it's just an observation. That's a different model. And I'm like, I had this innate kind of welling up inside me that I'm meant to like add some value to the kingdom with my time, with the talents and the gifts that God's entrusted me with. So I'm a pretty loyal guy. Over a 3-year period, not 3-minute period, over a 3-year period, I transitioned to a church like ours and haven't looked back. That matters. An Elevate group. This is this idea I talked about 2 weeks ago, that following Jesus is a team sport. And if you try to follow Jesus by yourself, you won't be effective. And secondly, the devil's got a name for you. You're called lunch. 4th, giving. This is, again, I spoke briefly about this. taking a percentage of what God's blessed us with financially and saying, I'm going to use that percentage and I'm going to invest. I'm going all in on my church's mission. And then fourthly, and this is what we've talked about already, this idea of invest and invite, that there are people out there that Jesus wants to meet and ultimately bring them here. Let me read one thing as we finish. I've gone a tiny bit over, but I wasn't here last week, so I feel I need to preach 2 sermons for the price of one. That's not true. I read something, and I'm just going to read it. I was thinking to put it up in the thing, but it's a poem. So I'm going to read it, and I want you to just absorb it. It's a bit old school. Like, what? Like, you're just going to say words and I have to listen? Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. Okay. And I'm only going to read a piece of it. It's a poem by a minister called Sam Shoemaker, and it's called I Stand by the Door. Okay, so let me just read an excerpt from Sam Shoemaker's poem, I Stand by the Door. I stand by the door. I neither go too far in nor stay too far out. The door is the most important door in the world. It is the door through which people walk when they find God. I mean, there's no use my going way outside and staying there. Sorry, I can't even read. There's no use my going way inside and staying there when so many are still outside. The most tremendous thing in the world is for people to find that door, the door to God. The most important thing that any person can do is to take hold of one of those blind, groping hands and put it on the latch that only clicks and only opens to a person's own touch. People die outside that door as starving beggars on cold nights in cruel cities in the dead of winter die for want of what is within their grasp. They live on the other side of this, live because they have not found it. Nothing else matters compared to helping them find it and open it and walk in and find Him. So I stand by the door. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pray for us. And because we're stepping into a collective season and pioneering the next chapter. And if we can be here 75 years after a half a dozen people stood in a park somewhere, then what can God take all of the resources and the people and the gifts and the commitment that exists here and do from today? So that's what I'm going to pray for. So I'm not going to ask you to stand. I'm not going to ask you to sign up for anything. I mean, Louis is going to just show you when it comes to Elevate Essentials, if you haven't taken a step into any of these areas, then I'm thinking today is a great day to do that. Beginning of a new year, beginning of a new season, beginning of a new chapter. Go all in. I mean, yes. I'm going to pray I'm just going to pray. You'll hear what I'm going to pray. So God, I thank you first and foremost for that incredible group of pioneers who just got after it 75 years ago, who didn't look at what they didn't have, but looked at what they did have and just trusted that you were going to use that. And God, we stand on their shoulders and the shoulders of many others who have come since that. And we ask you that you will help us see further, that you will help us go further, that we will be people who go all in, that we will make your mission our mission. That we know that the church isn't something else, that we are the church, that the church doesn't exist for us, that we are the church and we exist for the world, that you will use us from this day forward in increasingly effective ways as we go all in to reach people and to build people out there that you want to meet, you want to transform in here, in Jesus' name.
We really hope you got a lot out of this message. If you live in the Perth area, we'd love for you to join one of our live experiences. For times and directions, as well as information, head to our website, elevatechurch.me. For those of you beyond the Perth area, we'd love for you to connect with our online experience, which premieres every Sunday via YouTube and Facebook Live, and on demand immediately after. And to partner with us to reach more people by giving financially, head to our website, elevatechurch.me, and also download our Elevate Church AU app.